This is the regular meeting of the Mobile City Council, Tuesday, July 31st. Please stand for our invocation, led by Reverend W.E. Jones, Friendship Baptist Church, and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let us pray. Eternal God, our Father, we come thanking Thee for Thy many blessings. Lord, we thank You for another day. We pray that You would bless our being here today and promote our minds to better thinking. And Lord, those things that are before us, we pray that You will bless us, that our mindset will be right. Bless our leaders, bless our mayor, and bless every concerned citizen who are here today. Bless South Alabama in a special way. Have mercy, please. Let us do that which is best, not that which please us, but what is better for our communities. We pray that You will grant it. And should our finite minds be too limited to ask for what is needed most, since You're God all by Yourself, grant it in Jesus' name we pray and for His sakes. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Roll call. Vice President Manzi.
Here.
Councilmember Richardson.
Here.
Councilmember Small. Councilmember Williams.
Here.
Councilmember Daves.
Here.
Councilmember Rich.
Here.
Councilmember Gregory.
Here.
Statement of rules.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Wow, to have that many. Good morning. Good morning. It's good to see each and every one of you. The rules of the council are quite simple. We ask that you first turn off or silence all electronic devices before or upon entering the meeting. Any person desiring to address the council must sign in indicating the resolution, ordinance, appeal, or public hearing agenda item before entering the council meeting. When addressing the council, we ask that you clearly state both your name and your address. Any person desiring to speak to the council on a non-agenda item must contact the city clerk's office no later than 2 p.m. on the Thursday prior to that council meeting. The subject he or she wishes to address must pertain to City of Mobile business. Any person who has not given proper notice to the clerk's office and wishes to speak will not be allowed to address the council. Each speaker is allowed 5 minutes to address the council. A bell will sound to indicate the end of 4 minutes. 1 minute remains to allow you to summarize. The second bell indicates that your time has expired, and we ask at that time that you would move to your seat. When addressing the council, there is to be no personal address to any individual council member. All comments, any commentary, any questions should be made to me, the chair, who will recognize any council member or who would want to be recognized and wishes to respond. To maintain decorum, there will be no undue applause and or public outcry allowed. We try to have very peaceful council meetings, and so we're going to be enforcing all of these rules strictly. It's no respect of person, but we ask that all rules be observed. Thank you for your interest in your municipal government. Madam City Clerk.
Approval of minutes of July 24th.
So moved.
Second.
It's been properly moved in second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Minutes approved.
Communications from the mayor.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. All right.
some of y'all gonna wear some blue one day? I think there are 3 colors at that university, are there not? My remarks this morning are obviously directed to the council. And once again, I stand before you with brief remarks about the approaching vote to affirm the city's support of USA's new stadium. Over the course of the last 2 months, there have been lots of conversations, both public and private, about the pros and cons of helping USA finance their stadium. Individually and collectively, you know that the most challenging job that you have is to allocate money to finance the best ideas, ideas which have the most impact, things which give the citizens of Mobile the greatest return on their tax dollars. Never, ever are there enough dollars to do what each of us would like to see done. The city's history of properly allocating tax dollars for maintenance is abysmal. If it wasn't so, we would not have a $250 million backlog of broken infrastructure and a $225 million looming maintenance need. Over the last 4 years working together, we have repaired more infrastructure than any time in the city's recent past. With affirmative vote to support USA, we are setting in motion the opportunity to address the challenges that exist with deferred maintenance. A couple of years ago, I was talking about opportunities with Sir John Parker, a member of the Otokumpu Board of Directors. He said something that was profound and even pertinent for today. He said, the opportunities of a lifetime must be seized during the lifetime of the opportunity. Whether it's accepting a new job or investing in a stock, windows of opportunity close. The one with USA will close, and we need to ask, are we going to be on the inside or the outside? A no vote puts the city on the outside looking in. A no vote will be against one of the greatest economic engines in this city. A no vote will be against the entity that trains most of our teachers, nurses, and multiple other disciplines. A no vote will be against an entity who for 55 years has enhanced our community with job growth and countless opportunities. And a no vote will be against one of the best tools that we have for economic development. For those that don't understand by what I mean about a tool for economic development, almost invariably when a new company is coming to the city of Mobile, they asked about how do we develop bright young minds, what's the pipeline? And we turn and say the University of South Alabama. Over the last 3 or more decades, the University of South Alabama has asked the city to help them finance 2 projects, the Mitchell Cancer Institute and their stadium. Has the city gotten a return on its investment from investing in the Mitchell Cancer Institute? You bet it has. We will get a return from investing in this stadium. A yes vote assures that USA will build a 25,000 seat stadium starting construction almost immediately. A yes vote will bring new visitors, new events, and greater economic impact to our city through this new stadium. A yes vote assures that the city will secure the $2.5 million investment that will go back into refurbishing LAD. A yes vote will give us time needed to develop the best possible land for refurbishing LAD, assuring buy-in from the Maysville community. Like many decisions that you have to make, you have more knowledge and keener insight about all the variables that the city faces. Often you vote, but it's only into the future when people look back and say, now I know why they did that. Your vote on this issue is one of the most important votes that you've taken over the last 4 years. From an economic perspective, this is one of the best opportunities the city has had in those 4 years. I sincerely hope that you will vote yes and that you will vote soon so that this window of opportunity doesn't close. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councilman Manzi.
Yes, ma'am. I'd like to have a special presentation, and I'm going to be presenting it proclamation, I'd like to call Ms. Stacy Hamilton forward.
All right.
And if you could join us up here, not only is Ms. Hamilton getting this proclamation, but we also, yeah, come on. Come on. And if there are any of her colleagues from Visit Mobile, we'd like for you to come as well.
Oh, come on, team.
I think we have enough space. Come on.
Yeah, join us.
As we recognize economic engines, South Alabama certainly is one. Visit Mobile certainly is one, and we're glad to have Ms. Hamilton. We recognize the CEO, Mr. David Clark, and all of these hardworking individuals who day in and day out sell Mobile to outsiders and generate the revenue that we need in order to do things like the suggested contribution to South Alabama. So, and one of the stars at Visit Mobile that we're losing, another community has offered her a sweet deal and she's leaving Mobile. But we want to recognize her contribution for all that she's done. She's a resident of my district, which means she lives in the best district in the city. That's right. Ms. Stacy Hamilton, and this proclamation from this entire council reads thus: whereas at the end of this week, Stacy Hamilton will end her 8.5-year tenure as Vice President of Marketing and Communications for Visit Mobile, and whereas she has been key in greatly expanding Mobile's footprint nationally, strengthening our brand and championing the Mobile story, and improving all of our communications, including our website and social media platforms. And whereas under her guidance, Visit Mobile has developed and implemented several important initiatives and programs, including Born to Celebrate, the I Am Mobile Tourism Ambassador Program, and Cruising from Mobile Facebook page. And whereas all of her work has had a tremendous impact on countless visitors, businesses, and employees in our tourism industry, and the city as a whole. Now, therefore, I, Levon C. Manzi, Council Vice President, along with Mayor Stimpson and the entire Mobile City Council, do hereby proclaim Tuesday, July 31st, 2018 as Miss Stacy Hamilton Day. That's right. In the city of Mobile, and urge all of our citizens to join with us in extending to Ms. Hamilton our deepest appreciation for all of her hard work on behalf of Mobile and the region, and our best wishes for continued success in all of her future endeavors. And is signed by all of the members of the Mobile City Council. Ms. Hamilton, we say to you that we know you're going off, but we hope our tourism industry is so vibrant and so strong that we have to call you back. Thank you for all you've done for the city of Mobile.
Thank you so much.
Hold on. I want to have some further presentations to make.
Stacy, when we come to the beach, right?
I would like to thank Stacy for helping us propel the moon pie drop worldwide. Let me say, in the Central Time Zone, there is no New Year's Eve event in the Central Time Zone that can preempt the moon pie drop. And I want to thank Stacy for getting us out there early so people would know where to come to have fun, because we were born to celebrate here in the city. And I also want you to know that we traveled to Chattanooga, Tennessee, Stacy and I and Barbara Drummond, and we really went up there to tour the moon pie factory. So when we got to touring that, we discovered that they had a moon pie store, general store in Chattanooga. So we went over there and gave our pitch about the moon pie in Mobile, and to tell them that we would like for them to open up one of their stores in our city. Lo and behold, the largest retail store downtown is the Moon Pie General Store that we went and got. And I want you to know that I appreciate you, no doubt about it. So we got some, we don't want you to forget Mobile. We don't want you to forget the Moon Pie Drive. So we got a lot. We got the Moon Pie. Candle. Okay.
I got mooned in Mobile.
Hold on.
These are great.
All right.
Oh, this is going on my car. That'll be awesome right here. I got mooned in Mobile.
Okay, so now, wait a minute, I got another one here.
Of course, we need some chapstick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now,
Let her open that.
okay, you got to open it.
Oh, what's it? Oh, this is perfect. Stemless wine glass with, I am assuming,
Oh, what do you think it is?
maps.
Yes, it's a map of the city of
of the
Mobile
city
with
of
all of our
Mobile.
streets on it, so you won't get lost when you come back to Mobile.
This will be used often.
Mr. Vice President, I think there was an error in the proclamation. I just happened to notice it,
Yes, sir.
and at the very end, I think we should add, and we wish you safe travels back to Mobile, Alabama very soon.
I totally agree.
I will be back. You know I will be back. Can I say a few
Yes, sir.
things?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then we can move along. Sorry. Yeah. I'll be very brief, but you know, everything that I've done here in Mobile is because of everybody here in this audience and everybody that stand behind me here and other faces that I've worked with over the years. I moved here and I didn't know a soul. I did not know one person. And I feel like I'm leaving here with real family and real friends. And I know that Mobile will always be a part of me, and I will always come back and feel like I'm coming home. And I want to thank all of you, and I want to encourage all of you with all the opportunities and the challenges that you have before you today and down the road. Every day, wake up, think of the positive story that we have to tell about Mobile and keep on telling it, because I've seen major change and more change is coming, and it's going to be for the better. And I know Mobile is going to be an incredible destination for generations. So thank you all, and especially thank you all. So I love you all.
Let's give Ms. Hamilton and all of our Visit Mobile staff.
Take a picture.
Thank you.
Now we're gonna tighten up.
Tighten up.
Everybody
Okay.
tighten up.
Come on.
Marion told me.
And then they'll be pushed down. Well, move them in.
Okay.
All right, that sounds like a plan.
Okay. Switch it a little bit. Let me go sit here.
Thank you so much. All right, y'all. Good deal. All right. See you soon.
Yes, you know.
We'll miss you. Absolutely. You've done fabulous. Back. And we get serious again.
All right. You know, when you have great people, you should take the time to recognize them. So thank you all for your patience and for your presence. And we're back in the hands of our city clerk.
Adoption of the agenda.
So moved.
Second. Properly motion and second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Agenda is adopted.
Appeals, we have appeal of Lance and Ellen Lynch concerning the ARB Board's denial of the application to alter the property at 1110 Palmetto Street.
Yes, ma'am.
Hey, I'm Paige Larg. I'm with the City Mobile Historic Development and just wanted to give a little bit more background to it. 1110 Palmetto Street is a early 19th century workman's cottage, and it's very unique for its half-width porch, meaning it only covers half of the front elevation. A lot of the porches that you see there, depending on the period, might not go the full expanse, but the fact of the location of this half-width porch makes it unique. The owners were seeking permission to extend that half-width porch full width and also alter the type of columns and supports that the porch would have. And this not only would change the fabric of the porch, it would also affect its integrity because of that unique half-width porch. And the material change would also make it look like a different period. For that reason, the ARB follows the design guidelines that are set forth, and in those guidelines it says that primary elevations are of the utmost importance and original porch features should be preserved. The board then denied the application based on the guidelines.
Thank you. Thank you for what you've offered. Is there anyone else that would like to speak during this particular appeal?
Mr. Vice President, I think this has been carried forward just for those listening and coming in now. We heard this. It first appeared before us several weeks ago, and we decided to wait and give an opportunity for the appellant to come before us and make their case. And so this is the second time, and it appears that the appellant is not here. I just wanted to make that for the record. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. As I have Mr. Lance or Ms. Ellen Lynch are present. Just want to make certain. Well, if there are no other persons who'd like to speak, this appeal is closed.
No, it's not closed. No, it's
We
not
need to
closed.
make a motion.
Well, it's time to vote. Do I hear a motion?
Motion to deny.
Second.
It's been properly motioned and second. Any discussion?
Can I do that? Mr. Vice President, I think it needs to be in the affirmative, and I don't know exactly.
Motion to,
A motion to affirm the decision of the Architectural Review Board.
Do I hear a motion?
Motion to uphold the Architectural Review Board's decision.
second.
Been properly motioned and second.
And
Again, any
yeah,
discussion?
I'll just comment, and Councilman Williams already stated that we heard from the ARB board, and we understand that at the time this first hearing of their of the citizens' application of asking us to overrule that board, that they were not present, and we wished for them to be present so we could hear what they had to say. But we've been given documentation from legal counsel that basically affirms the fact that the ARB board did not give anything that or establish something against those citizens for review of their desire to have an expanded porch, and it is not in keeping with the historic nature of the home, and the ARB board is well within its rights to deny their application.
Mr. Davis?
Just again, so everybody understands, on these appeals, the council can only overturn the decision of Architectural Review Board if the council determines that they acted arbitrarily or capriciously in making their determination. And thus far, we've had no evidence that the ARB acted in such a manner. And so my own personal opinion is that that they didn't. They acted appropriately.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Any other discussion? If not, let's vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The item is, motion passes.
Decision is affirmed.
The decision is
Of
affirmed.
Of the ARB.
Of the ARB.
Yes.
We don't have items of this nature often, and we offered Mr. and Mrs. Lynch the opportunity to come so that we could be extra careful in wanting to see what their position was. So pardon us on some of this. We don't see items of this nature often. Thank you, Madam City Clerk.
Today is the appeal for waiver of the noise ordinance on September 7th, 8th, and 9th in Lyons Park, October 13th on Adams Street. Motion.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Been properly motioned and second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Public hearings today is a public hearing to determine if structures at 1110 Adams Street, 206 Norman Street, 402 Peace Lane, 1104 Gale Street, 1109 Lincoln Avenue, 1305 Basil Street, 1324 Congress Street, 1109 Adams Street, 1355 Hercules Street, also known as Dale Avenue, are public nuisances and ordering them demolished.
Is there anyone here that'd like to speak on any of these properties during this public hearing? Anyone would like to speak? Okay. Then the public hearings are closed.
Presentation of petitions and other communications to the council. Josh Goldsby.
My name is Josh Goolsby. I reside at 6131 Fairham Woods Court. I'm a resident of District 6, and I thank you for giving me a few minutes to speak today in support of the stadium at USA. Sports tourism is the lifeblood of Mobile's economy. A study conducted in 2015 stated the events surrounding the Senior Bowl produced an economic impact of $27 million for the local area. The economic windfall the bowl game produces is solely due to the NFL's connection. Previous and current Senior Bowl executive directors have stated Ladd Stadium is no longer adequate to hold the NFL's premier all-star event. I believe it would be in the city's best interest to listen to the two men who share a room with the NFL decision makers. The Senior Bowl's success is due to the players at major universities willing to put their bodies on the line and play in this exhibition game. These high-caliber players take this risk solely for the opportunity to impress the NFL coaches and scouts in attendance. In 2009, Jacksonville, Florida made a proposal urging the NFL to associate with their own All-Star game. In this particular case, Mobile was able to prevail. The same result cannot be promised again. If the city shows they are not willing to support a new stadium, it's reasonable to assume the NFL will again receive offers from cities able to offer a more appealing venue. While USA may build a stadium in the future, the NFL is under no obligation to wait on its completion. With steel tariffs and construction costs on the rise, if this motion fails, USA's ability to build a stadium will be pushed even further into the future. The assumption the stadium will be built with or without support from the city is extremely risky. Given the current challenges to Mobile's economy and infrastructure, are we really in a position to chance losing the tax base associated with NFL's presence in the Senior Bowl? An additional event showcasing Mobile and directly impacting our sports tourism market is the Dollar General Bowl. Perhaps not mentioned as frequently, the bowl game brings numerous fans from Sunbelt Conference schools that pour revenue into Mobile each December. The feedback from fans is consistent. They rave about the events leading up to the game, including the team events, the mayor's luncheon, and the downtown parade. They share, and I quote, "Mobile really knows how to put on a show." However, when they comment on the condition of Ladd Stadium, you begin to hear a different tone. Fans talk about the lack of bars and restaurants within walking distance of the stadium, inadequate parking, and mismanaged concessions, often referring to the point in the game when the stadium ran out of this item or that. Executive directors from both the Senior Bowl and the Dollar General Bowl have voiced support for and intentions to move to USA's new stadium once complete. Addressing council's concerns regarding taxpayer money funding stadiums at public institutions, please be aware the precedent has already been set right here in the state of Alabama. I give you 3 examples, including the University of Alabama, Auburn University, and Troy University. In 1995, the city of Tuscaloosa, Northport, and Tuscaloosa County gave the university $4.65 million to help pay for the expansion at Bryant-Denny Stadium. In 1938, Auburn University Stadium, now known as Jordan-Hare, began with $60,000 in federal money from the Public Works Association. Finally, over the last 20 years, the city of Troy has committed $8 million to Troy University for stadium expansions and improvements. All of these government entities were able to see the impact the local university had on their economy. If you choose not to support the mayor's proposal and allow this to die in committee, take a moment to consider the outcome. Current structure issues at LED will continue to deteriorate. The Senior Bowl and Dollar General Bowl will have left LED, and the city will not have the $2.5 million gift from USA. However, if the City Council seizes the opportunity and votes yes, you will have secured the future of the NFL in Mobile. The Dollar General Bowl will be on solid ground to further market tourism, and you will have the $2.5 million in the bank to repurpose LED into a facility the city can be proud. To date, the mayor, the Senior Bowl, the Dollar General Bowl, and the Mobile Chamber of Commerce have all expressed support for the proposal. The City Council is the last piece of support needed, and I strongly urge you all to vote yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Goose.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Do we have any questions?
Kelly Baker.
Morning.
I'm going to shift the topic from football to parking lots. Aren't y'all excited? My name is Kelly Baker. I live at 255 State Street in DeTonte Square. We're very excited about all of the great renovations going on all around us. It's a very exciting time for Mobile, and we consider ourselves lucky to live right in the middle of all of it. The Downtown Alliance went to great effort and expense to get the best urban planners to Mobile to study our city and write a really great code ensuring the proper development downtown. Thankfully, you all adopted this code for us. It's a great code, and we need to allow it and keep it in place. Please do not chip away at our code. We love it. Which brings me to why I'm here today. Recently, I was driving home one afternoon and I noticed heavy equipment working on a very large lot across from the post office downtown. I found out they were putting a parking lot which would then make the entire city block surface parking, which is not allowed by code. I sent Councilor Manzi an email along with the planning staff and asked them how they could allow this to happen. I was then told they did not have a permit to put this parking lot in. So I sent them a video of what was going on over there with all the heavy equipment, hauling off dump truck loads of topsoil, and they went out there and stopped it. But they also let them continue working the rest of the afternoon to continue hauling off the topsoil. Then they stopped. A couple of weeks later, I received an email from the staff that the planning staff went ahead and approved half of that lot for parking based on non-conforming use. When I asked them how this was determined and if I could get a copy of the written decision and the facts to back it up, there was none, which leaves it in my court. I had to appeal it to the Board of Adjustments. And now I have to fight to keep this from happening because it's not allowed. Since then, I've also discovered, and just this morning, that 2 lots to the west of our neighborhood were rezoned to allow for surface parking lots on an entire city block. Now, DeTonte has parking lots on the north, the west, and the south, and they're trying to push through the east, which does not, we have no connectivity to downtown, and that's what the code is trying to do. It's trying to help us protect our property values, our property rights, and ensure the proper development of downtown. The code is here to protect us. So in summary, I'd just like to ask the council to please have the Planning Commission uphold the code and stop trying to find ways to work around it. We like the code, we want to keep it in place, and we appreciate everything that you all do to ensure proper development downtown, but surface parking lots are not a good thing. Thank you so much for all you do.
Hey, thank you, Ms. Baker.
That's it. Oh, and one other thing I wanted to say, that the contractor was not cited for tickets. He was not cited for doing any of that work without a permit. And I asked why and was told nothing.
I have a question, if you don't mind. And you can get with me later because I sit on the Planning Commission on behalf of this council.
Yeah.
And if I can get some information on when those applications came through, then if it, you said it was
for permits?
for the rezoning. You said that allowed
Oh, yes. Now,
parking.
see that, I just found that out in between the pre-council meeting and now.
If you could get me whatever
They said it
documentation
was-
or put
I've
me
cer-
on a direction and I'll research it.
Absolutely,
I'm
yes.
curious.
I'll
Thank
be
you.
glad to. Thank you.
And I would like to say it's not the planning commission's job to enforce the code. It's the city of Mobile's job to enforce the code.
Right, and they are not going through the Board of Adjustments to get variances and just letting these things happen. We don't need more surface parking lots downtown.
Publix was shut down for 40 days. The city can't enforce its code.
Good.
Thank you. Ms. Baker, I appreciate all that you're doing in regards to making certain that the integrity of the code is preserved. I'm hopeful that the administration is hearing what Ms. Baker has said and that the appropriate people will reach out to her and also to the appropriate departments and make certain that these issues, her issue particularly, is addressed, and hopefully issues of this nature won't occur again. We passed the code for a reason.
Right.
To protect our downtown, to make certain that it was developed in a proper way. Many of these individuals have purchased property in this area with the expectation that this code would be properly enforced. And I agree with you 100%. We ought not be trying to find ways to run the code, but enforce the code. And I'm sure that's the administration's intent, and I'm hopeful that they'll be reaching out to you and also to the directors to make certain that if there's an error made, that that error is corrected. And I'll be hopefully joining you at the Board of Zoning Adjustment meeting. I have an appointment on that board. We'll be reaching out to him.
Thank you so much.
And I'm sure the administration has heard what you had to say.
Thank you so much.
I would say, Ms. Baker, if you would get with Matt Anderson, this is the first that we've heard of it.
Really?
Yep.
I'm glad I spoke then.
Yes.
Yep, we are too.
Thank you.
And so if you'll get with Matt after this, we'll follow up and see what we can do to make sure this doesn't happen again. So thank you.
Thank you. I may not stay till the end of this because I know
You
it's
can
going to last a while.
You can
but
walk right through in right now.
All right.
Dr. Raoul Richardson.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Let's celebrate Mobile some more. How about that?
All right, let's do it.
I'm Dr. Raoul Richardson, 650 Clinic Drive, Mobile, Alabama, 36608. And I'm here to share with all the council members, staff, and the office of the mayor, and this broad bunch of attendees here all in red. All right, go Jags. It's the 20th anniversary of the Gulf Coast Ethnic and Heritage Jazz Festival. And I just wanted to read our press release and to invite all of you to come and enjoy the celebrations that we've brought to the Gulf Coast over the last 2 decades. The 20th annual Gulf Coast Ethnic and Heritage Jazz Festival will feature the internationally renowned Donald Harrison Group of New Orleans, accompanied by acclaimed drummer-producer Mobile's own Bradley Hamilton. And that'll be on August 4th, 2018 at the Mobile Convention Center. And given that Stacy's left, I do want to thank the Mobile Convention Visitors Bureau, Visit Mobile, for their support on this as well. The Jazz on the River main stage concert kicks off at 5:30 p.m. with local favorites featuring the E.B. Coleman Orchestra, featuring vocalist Kamila Ali, and the incredible Everybody's Here Band. The milestone celebration will also honor local music icons to be inducted this year in the prestigious Mobile Jazz Hall of Fame. The Gulf Coast Ethnic and Heritage Jazz Festival has served the greater Gulf Coast community with a vibrant and eclectic menu of entertainment and education, food and frolicking right in the heart of the Azalea City. The festival is preceded by the dynamic Marcus Johnson Summer Jazz Camp, held weekdays beginning last Monday, July 23rd, and concluding on August 3rd under the direction of Mr. Hosea London. He's the acclaimed leader of the Excelsior Band Incorporated, and it resides at the History Museum of Mobile right here downtown. And then it will follow with an incredible recital and reception this Friday from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. at the Museum of Mobile on August 3rd. The celebration week continues with a mini concert and a spoken word event, all culminating in the rousing main stage concert on August 4th, complete with vendors and concessions, making this festival a grand opportunity for family-friendly fellowship and fun. Dedicated to the education, preservation, and celebration of jazz music in the greater Gulf Coast area, the Gulf Coast Ethnic and Heritage Jazz Festival is a 501c3 nonprofit. Our goal is to further the growth of jazz through encouraging its appreciation among young musicians and educating them in its rich Southern history. For the past 20 years, the Gulf Coast Ethnic and Heritage Jazz Festival has proudly presented professional jazz musicians and recording artists with roots in Mobile, Alabama. Many of these local musicians have become national and international artists and are alumni of the Mobile and Baldwin County school systems who have contributed to the ongoing success of the Gulf Coast Ethnic and Heritage Jazz Festival. Past performance artists have included Lil Greenwood, formerly of the Duke Ellington Orchestra, Fred Wesley, formerly of the James Brown Revue, Troy Trombone Shorty Andrews of New Orleans, Louisiana, acclaimed vocalist musician Esperanza Spalding, who, by the way, visited with us when Donald Harris last came to the Gulf Coast Ethnic Heritage Jazz Festival, and he presented to us, he said, look, I'm bringing a couple of unknown musicians out of New Orleans with me. Who knew just 2 years later, both Esperanza Spalding and Christian Scott would be Grammy Award-winning artists that made their debut in Mobile, Alabama at the Gulf Coast Ethnic and Heritage Jazz Festival. Finally, Art Sherwood Jr. of Baltimore, Maryland, Bradley Layton of San Diego, California, bluesman Eddie Shaw, former leader of Howlin' Wolf's Band.
All right.
And famed xylophonist, percussionist Jason Marsalis of New Orleans, Louisiana. For more information, please feel free to contact the founder of the Gulf Coast Ethnic Heritage Jazz Festival, lawyer attorney Creola Ruffin, at 478-4027, or Yvette Chastain, or myself, or visit us at our website. And I'm proud to serve the Gulf Coast Ethnic and Heritage Jazz Festival as its president of the board of directors. I thank you for your patience and time. And as a parting gift, I'm going to leave with my good friend here, Council Clerk, these wonderful, say ooh-ah, ooh-ah, these wonderful posters so that you can display them prominently in locations of your choosing around the city. I'll leave one over here for you too, Mayor, okay? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Richardson.
That's your question.
Yes, sir.
Gregory Dennis. Not here? Oh, yeah.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Gregory Dennis. My address is 5919 Warrenwood Drive, and I'm here today to speak on Hillsdale Heights issues. On June 28, 2018, I objected to the city giving USA $10 million for a football stadium until an investigation was done to determine why the city of Mobile was discriminating against the residents of Hillsdale Heights subdivision. The city failed to maintain the infrastructure in our neighborhood and installed barricades instead of repairing washed out streets. I informed the city council that the city of Mobile and the University of South Alabama actions clearly supported the extermination of Hillsdale Heights subdivision. Unfortunately, I was correct. The investigation confirmed that in 2006, the city of Mobile and the University of South Alabama drew a red line splitting the neighborhood. In 2006, Sam Jones was our mayor, Gordon Moulton was USA president, and Gina Gregory was our city council person. This red line identified all the property USA wanted for future use in the neighborhood. Based on this red line, the city had discriminated against the residents, failing to maintain the infrastructure behind the red line, intentionally and willfully reducing the value of the residents' property, with the intent of forcing the residents out. The city's decision not to maintain the infrastructure behind the red line has resulted in the streets being washed out, sinkholes, and other infrastructure issues. Now the city is using the cost to repair the infrastructure as a justification for giving the streets to USA as previously planned in 2006. There are 43 current victims of discrimination behind the red line in the neighborhood. It would be hard for anyone to assume that failing to maintain the infrastructure in the back of the neighborhood wouldn't affect the whole neighborhood negatively. In other words, it would be hard for someone to assume you could separate the baby from the neck down and the head could still survive. The goal was to make the environment so bad that it would push the residents out. This has resulted in the value being reduced tremendously in our neighborhood. John Peavy, the Director of Public Services, stated if someone had a house on a street in the neighborhood, it should have been paved. I highlighted all of the streets that the city has failed to pave in the neighborhood map based on Mr. Peavy's standard. On Friday, July 13, 2018, when I met with Mr. Peavy and showed him the map with all the streets that needed to be paved, based on his statement, he changed his mind, stating the mayor is not going to pave the streets in the neighborhood, further stating he wanted to give the streets to USA. On July 25, 2018, I met with Mayor Stimson, Gina Gregory, and Aubrey, the city engineer. It appears that the mayor and Ms. Gregory want to stick with the original plan in 2006 and give the streets to USA to avoid maintaining the infrastructure. I also met with Dr. John Smith, the Vice President of USA, and toured the neighborhood, identifying the residents' concerns in reference to USA-owned property. The residents requested that the USA maintain its property to the property line surrounding the residents' property and ditches in the neighborhood. Dr. Smith confirmed USA is in favor of the 2006 plan and want the city to give USA the streets. The city and USA officials met with the residents on July 26 to discuss what's most important to them, which was the football stadium and traffic flow plans through the neighborhood. As previously stated, I met with the city and USA officials the day before concerning neighborhood issues, and it's my opinion that none of them had any compassion for the residents' plight. I watched the elderly residents as they came into the neighborhood meeting, walking on walkers and canes, worried, trying to find out what's going to happen to their homes as their property value continuously decreased. Based on this investigation, my message to the residents today is it's a disgrace, and keep working. My time is up. Thank you, sir.
Yes,
you have a great day.
You have a great one as well. Thank you for coming.
Ann Davis.
Good morning.
Good morning. Let me,
Ann Davis.
Before you begin, Ms. Davis, let me just remind everyone that I gave the rules at the beginning of the meeting. It's not a slight against you. I'm not being disrespectful. Hey, everyone who's a Mobian I love. So it's not that I don't want to hear additionally what you have to say, but we have to enforce the rules. So please don't take it personal. It's not against you, but it's for the enforcement of our rules. Continue, Ms. Davis. I'm sorry.
Reset that time. Okay. I'm Ann Davis. I'm 967 Westbury Drive, Mobile, Alabama, 36609. I'm chairman of the LAD board, and I'm here to speak on behalf of the entire LAD board. When I first addressed the council pertaining to the letter of intent between South and the City of Mobile, I asked you to please find out the facts and to slow it down. Thank you for slowing it down. I also had hoped for a separation of the two issues. I still don't have all the facts, and I really don't know how I'm going to get them. I've also asked for clarification of the safety issues at LAD. I've asked to meet with the mayor's office to understand why, when the board did all that was asked of them, that we have been blindsided by this engineering study and all of the other discussions pertaining to LAD without discussing anything with us. I have received no answers from anyone, and obviously nor will I. And one by one, people have either remained silent or joined in with the rally to get on board with the South train. I've seen a lot of fake news, and I would like to challenge the person that talked before about the Senior Bowl leaving Mobile. I would love to sit down with him and Mr. Angus Cooper and discuss that this is something that has been brought up that is totally false. The one thing that I do understand now is that this has been considered a done deal since it was first introduced. I understand why South wants their own stadium, but also know that South is not giving anything to the city. They are being offered $10 million based on economic development when there is not a study to support this, plus basically being given LAD's main fundraisers so that LAD will be squeezed out. And the $2.5 million from South to repurpose LAD is a guarantee for them that LAD will never be a threat to them, especially if it is mainly used for high school games. This is the simple truth, and I can see why this is a good deal for them, but I don't understand the reasoning for the city. Everything else is being directed to revitalizing downtown Mobile, Broad Street, Water Street, moving the airport to Brooklyn, and LAD is better located to be a part of this objective. Why are we being pitted against each other? Why are so many people involved in this process changing their positions almost on a daily basis? The new Senior Bowl director is coming tomorrow, made an appointment to have a tour of LAD. A tour. Why does this feel so strange? And in particular, why is Councilman Richardson not totally against this? He normally would be very vocal against the money going to West Mobile instead of downtown Mobile.
Madam President, Ms. Davis.
Okay, got it.
At the very beginning of the, we got rules, ladies and gentlemen.
Got it.
We ask that you not call.
I'm asking questions because I don't get answers, okay?
Well, you need to reach out. Wait, hold it. We got rules against that. Mr. Dennis, and you know it. So let's follow the rules. Okay. Now, anybody that can't follow the rules, we have some people that can help you take your unruliness on the outside. We don't want that. We want to all be able to sit here and enjoy one another. You may disagree with what you hear, but we're going to get through this meeting. Thank you, Ms. Davis. Let's continue.
Okay. When I was in the pre-council meeting on the 9th floor, I noticed the One Mobile sign under its foundation. It said, improving communications and transparency across the city. Okay, where's the transparency? Okay, look, I have always pulled for South Alabama, and I would love for Mobile to become a real football city. I want South Alabama to win their games, but the entire way this has been handled is wrong, and the division it has created is wrong. It shouldn't be us against them. It's wrong to put this type of pressure on South's new football coach, as well as the Senior Bowl's new director. Is pressure really the way to make an informed and intelligent decision when so much is at stake? Can Mobile afford to make another investment blunder? The only way to bring everybody together is for all parties to be included in the discussion. I think South Alabama should raise their own money for their stadium, and they should first concentrate on having a winning season, and then the funds and the fan support will come. And I think Ladd should be embraced for its great history and restored to the stadium that the city can be proud of. This is only my opinion. And wouldn't it be great to discuss this and find out the very best solution for both Ladd and South? I can change my opinion if the facts support it. As for funding, this could come from the Alabama Trust Fund. Okay, is that my time up? All right, let me just say this. Let's just think about Mobile, not South and not Ladd, and not politics.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Ms.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Davis.
Mr. Vice President.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have those rules again. Let's be mindful of that. Mr. Richardson.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. My name was called by Ms. Davis. I just want her to know that I am the only council member who early on announced that I will not support nor vote for the demolition of Ladd Stadium. I just want you to know that. Also want you to know that in supporting South Alabama has nothing to do with Ladd. There are two different issues, and you said it yourself. Those are two different issues. I support Ladd Stadium, but I don't have to fight South Alabama to support Ladd Stadium. I support Ladd Stadium. And if anything coming before this council to help Ladd Stadium, I'm voting yes. I'm for Ladd Stadium. Has nothing to do with University of South Alabama. You can't debate me. I didn't debate you.
Let me.
Just want. I'm through.
Any other comments? I'd just like to say that I too am in support of both South Alabama and Ladd Stadium. I am not of the opinion that this region can only support one stadium. That's not my opinion. There are too many other regions comparable to Mobile's that support two stadiums all the time. Now, the rollout of this has been awful. I'll say that from the first beginning. It's just been rolled out awfully because we have intertwined South Alabama's desire to build a new stadium with the future of Ladd Stadium.
Right.
And it never should have been done that way, and I'm saying that publicly, and that's what has caused all of this divisiveness, whether or not we want, it's this Ladd versus USA proposition, and it never had to be that way because we're big enough and smart enough to have two stadiums and appropriately take care of both of them. We need to get out of this limited thinking that we're only able to do one certain sort of something. Mobile is able to do whatever we put our minds to, and if we intend to have two stadiums, we can do it. If Montgomery can do it, if Birmingham can do it, I believe in Mobile, and I believe we can do it. And there should not be this pitting against these students with all these red shirts on and the citizens who live in Maysville who support and love and cherish the heritage of Ladd Stadium. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. We are where we are, and we're working hard to build consensus so we can move forward. Any other comments from the council? Mrs. Rich?
Thank you. Actually, last week, and even in a newsletter that I give out to citizens, I stated that I didn't think our city could support two, but I have learned that that is not necessarily the case. So, and I thank the Ladd board and their management for giving me some additional information that I was not privileged to have when I concluded that we were looking at a one-act town. And I do agree that our city is big enough and our university is spectacular and it is an economic driver. However, Ladd is a fiber of our community that needs to be maintained and, if possible, even upgraded. So I really have redirected my thought process. And it's not to the detriment of one over the other. It's to be the best we can be. So I just want to say that.
Thank you, Councilwoman Rich. Any other comments? Mr.
Vice President,
Yes, sir.
I've received some crazy emails. Folks have introduced themselves as members of the faculty, members of the staff, alumni of South Alabama. And some of them, before this discussion, would have started it off with, hey, John, how's things going? And we've kind of broken that trend with my friends, and it bothers me. This is, in 12 years I've been on the council, this is the third subject that has separated our city. And has made people something maybe they're not. And has caused them to have what I used to call BlackBerry bravery. That's back in the day before the iPhone. And people will say stuff on a keyboard that they wouldn't say to me in person. And they certainly wouldn't say it in public here at the podium. Civility is probably what I think that all of us could benefit from as we move forward, however it is. The fact that I disagree with many of you in this room doesn't make me a bad person, and it doesn't make you wrong. And nobody has to be wrong. I really take offense, Mr. Mayor, at the comments that you're either for or against. We really don't have to be that way. Let me tell you something maybe you don't know. My wife is a lifelong member of the Jaguar Alumni Association. She did that at my recommendation. She saw no need to be a part of Alumni Association. I said, no way, you gotta be. We bought 6 season tickets, sideline, for the first season, 6 of them. I have 2 kids, and my wife and I. That's 4, okay? I bought 6 season tickets. Why? So I could bring somebody, or I could invite somebody to a game. For 6 seasons. I'm talking about sideline. We bought them. I have courtside tickets for the last 5 years for Jaguar basketball. For 4 years, I had season tickets on the third baseline for the Jaguar baseball. To say I'm not supportive of Jaguar athletics simply is not true. And I would say that I think that we all, especially in higher education, the one that is going to present this next generation, or produce this next generation, ought to be encouraging those who differ in opinion, and be okay with that. You don't have to agree with me. But I'd say, let's still be friends. Some people can't even pass me on the sidewalk without talking anymore, because they know I'm against the funding as it is presented. Look, I'm not against South Alabama having a football stadium. Boy, I tell you what, my greatest memories of college were walking to the stadium and walking back to my dorm. Being able to have that right there. And I think it's very important for South to have their own stadium. But let's be civil about it. And the emails, one that says, hey, I really support it and everything, but to say that the mayor is, and it's on both sides now, that the mayor is ridiculous and he's lost his mind, and anybody that votes for this is creating treason for the taxpayers of Mobile, or against them. Or on the other side, I would just simply say, there is going to be people that are going to differ in opinion. I have my reasons, and I've expressed it to many of those who have been civil with me. And I'm happy if anybody calls me to visit with them personally and present my opinion. I'm not trying to get you to change your mind, but please just be open that people are different. And I think I've talked too much, Mr. Vice President, but I appreciate the time. Thank you.
Well, this is an important discussion. It's a long-term commitment. I think it merits as much discussion as necessary. Anyone else that'd like to speak? Madam City Clerk.
Vic Knight.
Morning?
Morning.
Still morning, isn't it? Not sure.
Not
It's
for
been a
long.
long one, hasn't it? I appreciate the opportunity to come today. I was asked by a couple members of the council to present some information concerning the stadium's finances. By the way, if you guys get these are the best things I've ever bought. I never lose my glasses anymore. So I've attached, you'll get a copy of financial statements for the stadium for the next 5 years and projections of revenue and expenses. Actual numbers from the stadium's most recent audit are also provided as a matter of reference. Projections for 2018 and 19 are based on revenues generated by the stadium's current tenants, which include South Alabama Senior Bowl,
Mr. Knight, hold one
Dollar
second.
General Bowl.
Hold 1 second. Come on, if y'all are leaving.
You're all leaving me. They don't want to hear me.
Yeah, freezes time. These are some of the greatest citizens in the city of Mobile. Let's let them leave on out in peace. All right.
They must live in District 1.
No, sir. Thank you.
All right. Projections for 2018-19 are based on the stadium's current tenants, which include South Alabama, the Senior Bowl, and Dollar General Bowl, as well as a new event, the Gulf Coast Challenge. As requested, the financial projections are being provided for the years 2020 through 22 are based on if USA, the Senior Bowl, the Dollar General Bowl games were played at a new stadium on South Alabama's campus, beginning in 2020. Revenues to the stadium would drop by $765,000 in the year 2020. However, expenses would also decrease by $304,500. Years 4 and 5, 22 and 23, to provide some additional revenues, new events would be expected to be booked, which would lessen that operating deficit. Based on the stadium's current cash position and anticipated revenues generated over the next 2 years, we anticipate a $219,000 to $225,000 revenue profit over the next 2 years. Funds should be available to operate the stadium for the next 5 years without any additional performance contract funding from the city, which currently sits at $200,000 a year. So basically, we're talking about a $450,000 swing, revenue to expenses. We're making a little over $200 a year. We anticipate making over $200 in the next 2 years, which would give us, we also have some reserve, another couple $100,000, about $750,000 in the bank over the next 2 years to operate and offset those anticipated losses if those events leave. Bottom line is we have some time. We're not going to ask the city for additional funding outside of being able to prioritize and identify what infrastructure and maintenance needs we're talking about in the big number that's being presented to everyone. And I think that's really the point. I think we sit down and talk about what we need to do, how we can operate the stadium more efficiently, what other new events we can bring in. All those things give us the time to do that and the time to identify and book some of those events. So I think the good news to the council is simple. You would not have to put additional funds into the facility from an operating standpoint that's coming right now from the stadium's current performance contract with the city, and then further identify those maintenance issues, infrastructure, those type of things, and prioritize and find out what exactly needs to be done to keep the stadium safe and operational over the next at least 5 years. Outside of 5, I don't know where I'll be, I don't know where y'all be, but I did 5 years, and that was good enough for me right now. But you know, again, if you all have questions, you know, here it's the first time that anybody's really asked me for anything regarding the situation. Happy to provide it. Happy to provide anything else that you all need or want or have questions about regarding the operational aspects of the stadium. We're here for y'all and to best serve the city of Mobile and its citizens, and that's the bottom line. That's how we've always approached managing the facility, to do what's best for the community and to provide a need and a service that's badly needed right now.
Mr.
Questions?
Any questions
Yeah.
for Mr. Knight?
Please.
Mr.
Vic, first of all, thanks for coming down.
Sure.
I know that we have a paper that's going to tell us a lot of things, but then what is your operating costs after the 2020 season?
Well, let me get the numbers. Right now, we're operating, our revenues are about 1.2 million. Expenses are a little over $1 million. In 2020, the first year of the stadium, those numbers go to 510,000 in revenue.
Yes.
I said the drop of 750. Operating expenses are 761. That gives you a deficit of about 250 that first year. Now, I anticipate being able, if that was the case, being able to book additional events that would bring us some other revenue. You know, you got to understand, when you're full up for the fall, you can't book a lot of events in the fall. We are a football stadium. But there's a possibility of attracting some other events there that could lessen that deficit, increase those revenues in years, 2, 3, or 4 after those events were to leave. So as you look at that swing, certainly that's a big drop. But we also got to remember, we're dropping a lot of expenses as well. And ultimately, with the amount of money we have set aside now and the amount of money we expect to make over the next 2 years, we have enough to operate stadium at current city levels for the next 5.
Okay, so
I hope that helps.
What you're saying is that you would continue to get the 200
right.
for those 5 years, and you could operate for those 5 years
we feel,
with the 200.
we feel based on what we've got, what we anticipate coming in, the revenues that we project for the next 2 years, as well as what we have cash on hand now. Certainly, we're going to eat into that over 3 years, and we have to make some other decisions down the road, but it gives us time to assess some of that. I think a lot of this is it happened really quick, and it was difficult to make some of those assessments on the fly when some of that first started coming up. But after you've had a chance to look at it and really assess what that would do to you, I feel confident in those numbers.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Mrs. Rich?
If I may. You talk about repairs and upgrades. Do you have any kind of paperwork on things that the board or yourself as a manager has listed as things that you would have bought or will be bringing to the city's attention for upgrades and maintenance? Do you have a list internal?
There's always minor things. You have a list of projects that you'd like to do, and you know, to be honest, most of that money, that excess money that we've been making, we've been putting back into the stadium in different projects. For example, we bought a video scoreboard last year with primarily most of the monies we received in rent the first year from South Alabama. Other major areas of need, if we have the money to do it,
you do
we
have
take
like
care
a
of it.
laundry
Other
list.
issues, certainly we fall back to the city for some other major repairs, and identifying some of the other stuff is a big question.
Right.
Because we really don't know what that would be. I don't think anybody really knows and identifies or has prioritized what some of those needs are.
We are privy to a study that was done 2 years ago that talked about the conditions of the stadium, but just recently released. I know that when the city had a need for a senior center out west, a way to build that was to create a bond that was paid back with a revenue stream, which is called the Alabama Trust Fund. And I do think that LAD could benefit if, the administration was on board, if the council approved something like that. But we were able to create a wonderful facility that would never be here. And it's hard to just go out and borrow without having a revenue stream that you can actually say every year over the 10-year or 20-year of your bond how you will pay it back. And that was a tool. And I do hope that the city will look into that as a possibility to try to make the things that we know have been ignored, just like so much of our infrastructure. We've been hearing that a long time. And everybody knows that's a non-debatable fact across the board in all districts and in a lot of facilities. So.
Exactly. And that's exactly the point. Give it time to analyze and figure out some ways to make some of those improvements.
Mr. Knight, what is your role there at LAD Stadium?
Well, I work for the Michigan Group, which is the organization hired by the LAD board to manage the stadium. As stadium management, that basically means we're the ones that get blamed for everything.
Well, I just wanted to just clarify.
Just to clarify.
Right.
But we've been there for since 2010.
I've made a statement earlier about the ability to be a two-stadium city with two functioning, viable stadiums. You are in the business of running a part of the management there at LAD. If South builds their stadium, well, when South builds their stadium, because I'm still of the opinion that they'll build whether they get resources from us or not. When South builds their stadium and these big name games go out to their stadium, do you believe that your management group, and I'm sure I know your answer, but I want it. Do you believe your management group will be able to field other big activities there at Ladd Stadium?
Well, I think that's the question that is on, certainly we're challenged with as we move forward in a post-South Alabama Senior Bowl Dollar General Ladd Stadium. There's no question that these numbers give you time to at least go out there and book events and explore and bid and make those kind of decisions that benefit the stadium, identify things that make sense. There's a lot of stuff out there. I mean, quite frankly, there's a lot of things you can't go after now because of conflicts with schedules. You open that up, there's no telling what could be done. But I think the point is that you give us the opportunity to do that, identify that. I don't know if you can make all $750,000 in revenue back. That may be a challenge, but you may be able to make a great deal of that back. We just don't know. But doing that over a 2 or 3 year time period would give you a better feel at the end of that time about where things would stand in years 24, 25, 26, and down the road.
And you would have the reserves already in place to give you the time needed to see.
Yeah, I think that's the point with the information I gave you. Yeah, right now we have some monies already set aside, combined with the profits from the anticipated profits for the next 2 years. That gives us enough operating capital to get through those deficit years 3 years after without asking for any more funding from the city. Now, we could turn around and say we're going to need more money from the city to continue to operate it down the road. That's certainly a possibility, but as it stands today, based on our numbers and what we're showing and anticipate receiving in rent, we should be okay for 5 years at that $200,000 level.
Any further questions for Mr. Knight? Thank you very much.
Very good.
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah. If my memory is correct, with the renewal of the contracts over the last couple of years, allowed Ladd to have more income than what you had in the past.
Correct.
And so I don't want anybody to think that the administration is against Ladd, nor do I think that you've done a poor job of management, because in the last 2 years, given the opportunity to have more revenue, you have done a good job.
Right.
And from an operational standpoint, I would not take issue with what you're saying. I'm delighted to hear that you don't think you'll need any more operating funds. But my concern really is not about the operating funds, and I think the question before the city, and it's not just the city council, it's really about the ongoing maintenance cost, and that's what we're addressing. So I just wanted to express myself about that.
Absolutely. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Ordinance is held over 01020, amend City of Mobile Ordinance 01004, 2017, Sections 101, 107, 112, 201, and 202 of the tariff of the City of Mobile, Alabama Cruise Terminal. 52015, amend Chapter 52 of the Mobile City Code pertaining to boarding standards, hazard trees and tree limbs, and updated weed abatement fees. At 88021, deem the use of certain property for affordable housing a public purpose and authorize the donation of certain property to the city's affordable housing program for the purpose of inclusion in federally funded development thereof.
So moved.
Probably motion and second. Is there any discussion?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Richardson?
I would like at this time amend of amendment for 52015. And this amendment is already in the hand of the city clerk. Amended to accept updated changes. The updated changes has already been submitted to the city clerk.
Second.
And proper motion and second. This is on the amendment.
Yeah.
Mr. Richards, Mr. Davis.
These are the amendments we talked about at pre-council.
Yes.
Correct?
Any discussion? Not all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Now we go to the amendment, 52015 itself. Is there a motion? Well, it's already been a motion. Any discussion?
This is for all three of them, I think.
Right. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All three pass.
CIP resolutions held over. 21527, authorized contract with Harris Contracting Services for West Regional Library server room, HVAC, and generator.
So moved.
Second.
Properly motion and second. Any discussion? Not all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Items passed.
Do you all want me to take these all together? Or
Yes, ma'am.
take the, okay.
Wait a minute, I think we need to take
no.
01.
We're going to have to call one.
Oh, I need to take 0144
Yes.
separately. 01444, authorized letter of intent with the University of South Alabama to facilitate the construction of the USA Stadium project.
Move delay over 2 weeks.
Second.
Been properly motion and second. Any discussion? In the interim of that in the interim of that 2 weeks, this item has been assigned to a council task force. I've assigned that to be chaired by Councilman Fred Richardson, along with Councilman Joel Daves and Councilwoman Bess Rich. And Councilman Richardson hopefully has a date already to announce. We want to move expeditiously on this. It's been laid, it will be laid over 2 weeks, but in that interim, it will go to this task force.
Yes, sir, Mr. Vice President. I would like to announce that a meeting has been scheduled already for Monday, August the 6th at 2 p.m. in the council conference room. All interested parties are invited, and we expect to be there. That's Monday, August the 6th at 2 p.m.
Mr. Vice President,
Mr.
I just wanted to, for the record, say that that I'm prepared to vote. I think that further delay is certainly within the authority of the council, but I'm ready to vote, and I would be opposed to delaying this any further. These people have been coming down here every time we say it's on the agenda, and I just think we ought to say where we stand. Thank you.
Mr. Vice President?
Yes, sir.
I would like to say that I'm ready to vote too, but we have some members that's not ready to vote. And for the sake of trying to do the best we can to get this passed, we need to take the time that's necessary to have the number of votes we need to get this passed. If we vote today, it'll fail. It's laid over for 2 weeks, and it has been assigned to a committee that I am the chair of. And hopefully, yes, it's been laid over for 2 weeks. At the end of this process, I hope what we're doing today is fruitful. Keep hope alive, give hope a chance.
I'd like to say, ladies and gentlemen, this is exactly how government works.
That's right.
All of these college students, I was on the SGA when the issue of South Alabama football started. I was there. Jennifer Edwards was the president. I was the SGA senator and chair of the finance committee. And if your group didn't have your paperwork right, I denied it. So I've been in your shoes, but now I'm over here. And I have 29,203 members of a board of directors that tell me what to do, advise me as to what to do. And if I had to vote now, it wouldn't be a vote you'd like. Because I want to ensure that while you all are taken care of, the community that I represent is taken care of as well. And I'm sure you can understand that. There's give and take in government. That's how it works. It isn't what you see on CNN and Fox. The real deal takes place right here every Tuesday. And while all of us personally would like South to have the biggest stadium, I want you to have a stadium big as the one in Alabama and Auburn. But I have a financial and fiduciary responsibility to the residents that I represent. And I've got to make certain that while you get what you need, they get what they need. And until I can assure them that I have gotten them what they need, I am not prepared to vote. I'm one of those that's not ready to vote. I'm not ready because what I need for my community is not ready. But the very moment that we get what we need for the community, then I'll be ready. And Mayor Stimson and his staff is working. They're being cooperative. I'm appreciative. We've presented to them a plan that we feel would be appropriate for the community, that would revitalize the community, that would be a win for the community. That's what we're looking for. Not just a win for South Alabama, but a win for everybody. And surely everybody in here with rational minds can understand that. I know you don't want a delay. I understand not wanting delays. But this is a 20-year commitment. Certainly it merits 2 more weeks of discussion. It's a 20-year commitment. So I'm glad to see all of you with the red shirts. Go Jags. I almost graduated from South Alabama, but they had a Spanish requirement. And I had to go to Troy in order to finish my degree. The lady, she wanted to be a Spanish teacher at Harvard or something, and she wanted us to be immersed in their language. I took it 2 times and failed. I went to Troy University where they didn't have that requirement. And so I'm an 85% Jaguar. So I'm not against it, but I'm for my community. And that's how government works, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for coming. You may be a little disappointed, but give us 2 more weeks. We're going to try to do what we need to do for both entities so everybody can have a win.
Mr. Vice President.
Mr. Richardson.
Let the record be clear. I am 100% Jags. I graduated in 1974.
No Spanish. No Spanish. I guarantee you back then it was no Spanish requirement. It ain't no Spanish requirement.
Mr. Vice President?
Yes, ma'am.
Since we know you can't speak Spanish today,
I cannot.
that's certainly new news for all of us, and we won't try it. But I agree with what our chairman has said. We want to do what is best, obviously, for the University of South Alabama, but for our communities as well. Councilman Small is not here today, but he has also requested the same sort of opportunity to hold a meeting and get more information from his community. I too have communities that have some concerns and will be impacted by the construction of a stadium, so we are trying to work out some things. And we appreciate your patience with us. I mean, politics, government is not cut and dried, as you well know. Last year during the budget, we must have had the budget on the agenda 3 or 4 times before we ever passed one, and then we came together in an emergency meeting to do it. So, sort of like making sausage, if you know what that's like. Not too pretty, but we wind up with a good product. So if you would just bear with us, we'll be back, and we're going to try to work through a lot of these issues to do what is in the best interest of everybody. So thank you.
Great. And we request to, I don't see Dr. Waldrop, but I see Dr. Erdman. Dr. Erdman, if you all could have someone from the university who can make decisions at this particular meeting on Monday, it'd be most appreciated. Thank you. So there's a motion to lay over for 2 weeks.
Right.
It's been properly motioned and second. We've had a lot of discussion, so it's time to vote. All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Opposed.
So we have 5 in favor, 1 in opposition. Motion passes.
01532, authorize agreement with SMG and Alabama Power Company for the use of identified City of Mobile premises for purposes of a staging area.
City Clerk, let's give them time.
They want to go.
Let the red shirts leave.
Yeah.
Hey, Levon, tell me to lunch downtown.
And go and eat lunch somewhere in downtown. District 2. District 2, the best district in the city.
Juliet.
What's the name of the man who made two sons, Laurent?
Over to it.
Over to it. I'm gonna be over to all of them.
Now we're back to where we normally are.
Wow.
Empty.
It's really clear out.
We got our group standing.
Yes, ma'am.
01532, authorize agreement with SMG and Alabama Power Company for the use of identified City of Mobile premises for purposes of a staging area for personnel and equipment for repair and storm damage. 37530, approve the application of Theo Atkinson doing business as Spots, Dots, and Scales Fishing Charters for a certificate of public convenience and necessity to operate a shuttle for charter fishing boat service.
So moved.
Second.
Probably motion and second in the discussion. If not, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Items passed.
Ordinance is being introduced for the first time, 39022 through 57023.
These ordinances will be laid over for 1 week by council rules.
Consent resolutions being introduced for the first time, 31534 through 6548.
Motion to suspend the rules for immediate consideration of resolution 31534 through 60. Is it 518?
548.
6548.
Second.
Probably motion and second in the discussion. If not,
31534, authorize the mayor to apply, accept, and receive funding from the Department of Justice 2018 COPS Office Stop School Violence Prevention Program grant. 37535, recommend approval to the ABC Board for issuance of a restaurant retail liquor license for Texas to Brazil on Airport Boulevard. 37536, recommend approval to the ABC Board for issuance of a restaurant retail liquor license for Fuego Coastal Mexican Eatery on O'Shell Road. 4537, declare 537, 538, 539, 540, 541, 542, 543, 544, and 545 are declaring structures at 1110 Adams Street, 206 Norman Street, 402 Peace Lane, 1104 Gale Street, 1109 Lincoln Avenue, 1305 Basil Street, 1324 Congress Street, 1109 Adams Street, 1355 Hercules Street, public nuisances and ordering them demolished. 58546 and 547, assess cost for removal of weeds, repeatedly weed lien groups 18 and 20, and 6548, approve award of special bonus to Mary Kilpatrick through the City of Mobile's Employee Recognition Program.
So move.
Second.
probably motion and second in the discussion. Not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Items passed.
CIP resolutions being introduced, 11549 through 11550.
Motion to suspend the rules to.
Thought we were laying these over.
Yeah, he's going to lay over.
We're just going to hold those up now?
But we can vote to lay it over. We're going to take both of them up. And then somebody going to motion to lay the first one over for 1 week.
Can't we just treat it as a first read?
laying both of them over.
And have it
Oh,
come down?
no.
That's not what I'm saying. Let's not- let's just-
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We don't have to vote on it.
All right. But they're going to be, both of these be laid off to next week. Okay.
By council rule.
Okay.
Back on to it.
Done.
Resolutions being introduced for the first time, 21551 through 21552.
By council rules, these resolutions be laid off for 1 week.
Announcements.
Mr. Williams?
No, thank you.
Mr. Richardson? Mr. Davis?
No announcements.
Mrs. Rich?
No, thank you.
Mrs. Gregory?
All right, I'll follow suit then. Okay.
Well, same
feel
here.
free.
Any announcements from the
Got
administration,
anything
Mr.
to
West?
No, senor.
Oh, see, you didn't have to do that. You didn't have to do that.
You
Okay.
opened yourself
I did. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Probably motion and second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Means adjourned. Oh, you can't handle this.
No.
You already ordered it.
No, I'm going to stay.
Good to see you, buddy.
Good thing we did.
He's right on time.
Taco Tuesday today, just saying.
Oh, what about? Oh, okay, Taco Tuesday.